Everyone says dating is hard, but what if it's not the pissy dating pool? What if it's the things we haven't healed from, the way we were raised, the walls we built but then call them standards? On this season of Connection Through Chaos, we're not chasing connection. We're unpacking what's been blocking it and the uncomfortable truths about how our upbringings, our traumas, and our life experiences shape who we choose and how we connect. By the end of this episode, you might just see yourself a little bit more clearly. For everyone tuning in right now, this is my father, a man who grew up without a male blueprint, learned independence early on, and from my opinion, kind of navigated through life, not really knowing connection or how to build it, but just kind of navigating it. What's up, Dad?
Hey, what's up, son?
Let's toast to a great
You know,
show.
you and I never had a drink with any of my kids.
You know what's so crazy? I'm gonna
Ever.
say that we never had a
Never,
drink.
ever.
This is a little wine from Cooper's Hawk, a Brilliante.
Uh,
A
it,
Brilliante.
it's reminds you of a Sauvignon. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah,
Sauvignon.
can't remember that.
Kind of like I said,
Yeah.
it has a little bit more sweeter.
It's the type that it take about a glass and a half before you really like, okay, it's okay, but
Yeah,
it got yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, first drink together.
First drink. Look at that on the show. So we're gonna jump right in.
Okay.
All right. When you look back at your life, let's say maybe the past 10 to 15 years,
Oh.
not too far.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, not too far. You can go back to 20 if need be or so. What's something you understand now about yourself that you didn't understand back then?
When it comes down to relationship or life?
Life.
Life, I think some of the things I understood now is how much I was allowed to just be, and then, I look at some of the decisions I made, and how they affected my growth, So, yeah, during that time frame, I got a chance to step outside my bubble, and look inside and like, okay, I could have did this, and this, better, more or less.
Right.
So, growth. So growth came from that.
Definitely.
Getting a chance to really look at myself, pay attention to myself, and make some changes.
I felt the same way. I think I did a lot of changes and self-growth within the last, I want to say maybe 4 to 5 years. Huge difference from where I used to be mentally and all of that to where I am now. Just in relationships and in life.
Well, I know the phone calls hadn't been as much because you called me like, "Hey, Dad, you remember when you said?"
For sure.
Then I said, "Well, if you did that, that means you didn't listen." Because I said, "Don't do that. Do that."
For sure. A lot of lessons that I didn't take. Very hard-headed child growing up. A lot of people don't know that I grew up in the Fay Apartments.
Right.
Like, a lot of people think that I'm from Silverton or somewhere Fairfield, Forest Park or
Fay
something.
Apartments. Yeah.
I guess it's because the new me, they don't even know the Adam the jeweler me. They just see the Adam Delane me, the photographer, and the little modeling that I did.
Fay
But I was a little bad Fay Apartment kid, and they be thinking I be lying.
Well, that's why I met your mom. We were living there. And it was in our teens. When I was in my late teens, turning. But yeah. The whole family, mom's family on one side of the street.
Whole family lived in the Fay Apartments.
Your mom family on that side of the street, and my family on this side of the street. Yeah.
I didn't know y'all lived across the street. I thought it was like down the street around the
No,
corner.
it's I was right on President Drive, and they was on City View Circle.
Yeah, we was on City View.
Right. Yeah. I look out my door. It's like they're right there.
Yeah, I guess so. That does make sense. Let's go into growing up. What did love, family, and partnership look like to you?
I didn't come up in that type of environment. I mean, love and stuff, that wasn't part. Just being, I had to take care of myself at a young age. My mom, father was, my mom and father. Mom decided father was a little slow for her, I guess. That's what I'm saying. Because he wanted to be there. He wanted to marry and everything. But mom was very young. She had me very, very young.
How old was she? I think she
14 turning 15. I was
15?
born the next day after her birthday.
Yeah, y'all do got next
Right.
day.
She turned 15 and I was born the next day. Yeah. And my father was 19.
Oh, so he was older. Oh, that's
Right.
dang. That's 5 year difference.
Well, back then,
Back then it wasn't that bad.
But yeah, he wanted to, and he spent time, when I was young, he spent time coming over and, working, then catching the last bus home. They stayed in Covington. So yeah, he was there when I was young. I remember those times. And then things got a little rough because my mom's mom passed when I was like 2. So and then she got brothers and sisters under her, except one older sister. So things were a little rocky. So really, you had to hit the floor running.
Didn't y'all live in the same house or something? Like
Yeah, it was
Massachusetts?
Sycamore in Mount Auburn. That's where we came from. Actually, when I was born, we was in the West End on Perry Street, and people might not know Perry Street, but Perry Street, you got 4th Street, and at the end of 4th Street, and I think that's Central, it's a fire station. It used to be Channel 9. Channel 9 used to be right there, and it's a fire station. That little alleyway, that little street is Perry Street, and that's where I lived when I was born. So technically born in the West End.
And then y'all
moved to Mount Auburn.
Mount Auburn.
Right.
And then Mount Auburn.
And I was in Mount Auburn until I was like 12. Yeah, I went to Taft Elementary, went to Cutter when it was Cutter Junior High School, and then left there in about the second quarter, and we moved to Fair Apartments.
And then in Fair Apartments, it was just you and Grandma, or was it you, Grandma, and...
No, it was just me. It's just me and Mom first, Well, actually, we went to Commonwealth first for a year. Then we went to Fair Apartments. And I was like happy because in Mount Auburn, we had like a studio, and I was sleeping on this like plastic couch, like that fold out plastic couch, that thick fold out plastic couch.
I don't know about that.
I know you might. It's this vinyl couch, and it folds out to a bed, and that was my bedroom. That was my bed for a minute. And then we moved to Commonwealth, and I had my own bedroom for the first time. And then when we moved up to Fair Apartments, I thought we had it going on because we had upstairs, downstairs. You know what I mean? I was
them hard black floors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them hard steps.
But we had upstairs, downstairs. Man, we had moved up.
You felt like you had some space.
But during that time, Mom always worked, never got welfare or anything like that. Nothing against it, because those things were helpful in life. But she always worked, and so it was just me.
So you feel like that's where you had your independence from?
8, 9 years old, I had to come home a lot, take care of myself. Just come home, make sure I was in the house a certain time. Make sure I do the things I'm supposed to do, get in bed.
So let's jump around just a little bit, because what I talk about on this show a lot is, as the intro states, like how our upbringing shapes who we are today. Right. Like, so do you think having to be independent and on your own so much as a kid, do you think, like now in hindsight, kind of like connecting the dots, do you think that, I want to say like maybe hinders connection?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think it was a help and a hindrance,
the blessing and the curse.
Sometimes you can go so independent that when you do meet somebody, it's kind of hard because you're supposed to allow them to do or be and stuff like that. And that's kind of hard if you've been, independent for a long time.
Right.
I was not only, was it just me and Mom? I was the only. So I'm also only child. So, my whole little world was whatever I created. So and as I'm growing up, it's still just my world. Whatever type world it is my world that I created. So, and even in my teens, when people come and hung out at our house, because my mom was, she worked third shift, so my house was the party house. But the thing was, they came into my world. And I had control and everything. So you are your environment. I always say that you are your environment. And mine was just so carefree, and it wasn't like that family structure. So I never got that family structure. I just was being, you know.
So at any point between then and now, have you ever sat down and just connected the dots and was like, you know what? I love my space. I love being alone. Like I don't feel like, because a lot of people, it rains or it snows and they be like, oh, I just wish I can cuddle. When people been on their own, like you just be like, ooh, I get to watch whatever I want to watch. I ain't got to worry about nobody. Have you thought about like, you know what? Maybe me growing up and being so independent is hindering me from connecting with people now, in a way of whether maybe not necessarily like just blocking it or just ignoring them or anyways, but just like not letting them be there, or because some women, and I say that just because some women have that feeling of needing to be wanted.
Right.
Like they want to feel like you want them
Yeah.
around, but when you're so
And some men
independent,
too.
you're like,
Right.
well, I'm just in
Yeah.
our situation,
Okay.
you know, when we have that woman who feels like they want to feel wanted, and when you grown up in your
Right. Yeah,
independence,
it's kinda
that's what I'm saying.
hard. Right.
How that dynamic.
Yeah,
Have you ever thought for a second like, dang, you know what? I grew up on myself all this time. That's probably I probably alienated some people or
Yeah,
made them feel
yeah,
not
yeah,
wanted.
right.
Let me digest that. Let me think about it. Let me heal from that. Let me change it.
Yeah, and you know what happens? Because when you get so independent, sometimes a woman has a hard time seeing where they fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been cooking since I was 9 years
Yep.
old. I really, as part of like
I
need,
know how to
and
keep
being
a
the only
house.
child, and like some people in their life, they get where they feel they need someone.
Mm-hmm.
But by because they got the fear of loneliness. But by
Yep.
being the only child, you've always been alone.
Yep.
So nobody can threaten you like I'm gonna
Yep.
leave you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Because it's like what's gonna change,
Yeah. Yeah.
But but in relationships, I learned even when I got married years ago, I had to allow someone to like really take care of me. Not take care of me like a child,
Right.
but care for me. That's the word I want
There
to
we go.
use.
Yeah.
And when you're so independent, sometimes you forget to let someone care for you. And sometimes they cannot. If you're so independent, you do so many things. Some women
It's hard
have
for
a
them to
hard time
navigate
trying
it.
to see where they fit.
It's having a hard
Where
time
I fit in
navigating
to
that.
help you? Where's my part?
Mm-hmm.
If you do all these things, so yeah, you got to like turn it down a little bit.
So with that being said, do you feel like you've over the years at some point you turned that down, you've adjusted that knob?
I still at times have to catch myself.
Mm.
I still at times have to say, hey, let this person in.
Mm.
Stop being so, stop answering all questions. Let this person in. Stop having all the questions. Stop having all the solutions. You might know them, but hey, sometimes you got like, And just like our men are elders, I'm grateful to have a lot of elders. I mean, I'm talking about elders 70, 80, 90s, in their 90s. I'm grateful to have those elders because some of the things that I feel about what's going on, they can back it up.
Right.
Because some people my age think I'm in some kind of world, like some old world, because I'm not trying to hang with this new vibe.
Right.
But I said, no, I'm trying to I'm trying to keep the foundation strong and not trying to be on something that's just, that's kind of weak.
Right.
And it changes with the time, But yeah, I'm really grateful that I have had the experience with the elders who can pull my coattail and and let me know, hey, when I get off track or something. But yeah, I really it's still a journey.
Oh, I mean, I tell people all the time on the show, healing is a forever journey.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever feel like because you're triggered, you're not healed or whatever the case may be. Like, it's going to be a forever journey. It's about, like you said, catching yourself and then changing your behavior. Like, that's why I harp on this show all the time. Another question I had for
Did I
you.
answer your question though? Because
Yeah, in
Okay,
a nutshell.
all right.
In a nutshell. So you didn't grow up, with a consistent male role model in the home. How do you think that shaped the way you became a man?
You hear the cliche or stereotype is you gotta have these two representations in order to be this or that. And I think what I found out about the field I worked in and the people I know, I think one of the things I found out is it's the person that's in the house and their mentality that helps first.
For sure.
It's great to have the male, female. It's great to have that.
That dynamic.
But it's even better to have the mentality, the mentality that really helps. Because if it's your mom or your dad that you stay with, if they got some stuff going on, you got some stuff going on.
Or if you got both of them and they both got some stuff going
Right,
on,
right.
you're going to have some stuff going on. For
so
sure.
Sometimes people think two parents just makes a healthy. No, not if they're unhealthy. But like I said, again, my mom made the choices she made. She married her stepfather when I was 4. But he was an interesting individual. He ran the streets. He hustling, jiving, and all that. So no, she never really. And I think that's some things that don't get talked about, whether it's male or female, they don't date in accordance to what they need for both. They date in accordance they need for
For
themselves.
themselves.
Sometimes it's just what I need for my body,
Mm-hmm.
not for what I need for my being and my, my
Right.
family.
Right.
They,
Right.
my elder cousin, she's cousin by marriage. When she came here and she married my cousin who had lost his wife, but he was taking care of his kids. That's one thing she was looking for, a man who, not have kids, but know how to take care of kids and stuff like that, because she had 2 daughters. Right. So that's one of the things she looked for. And sometimes I don't think people now look for that person. Sometimes they just look, sometimes because of desire, they looking for fulfillment there.
Right.
And they're not thinking about
the child, their children.
Because some even say, hey, no, I don't need nobody for my child. They got a dad over here, and he'll do this outside or whatever, or mother or father, Sometimes they say they'll take care of it, but they don't look for that person that's going to take care of that nucleus, which is their family. But I could have benefited. I had my grandfather, I had my all my, like I said, my cousins. They're my cousins, but they were in they're in the 70s and stuff. Yeah. So they were always older. As a child, I remember ripping and running around over on Hackberry, and all the men outside out back, just drinking and laughing, and the women inside cooking and communicating. So, and the kids, we just running around being kids.
Right.
But I did see, I had to find people to like emulate, because like I said, myself, because the type of person I was, no one told me, don't do this, don't do that. They was cheering me on because they, the type of personality that I had. They was basically like, hey, my man, he cool, he's super cool. And then realized I was just spinning,
So you said what's more important is, like you said, the parent that is in the household.
Right.
With that being said, do you think grandma gave you at least some sort of balance as far as morals, principles, structure in that sense?
Well, you got to remember, like I said, my mother was 14 turning 15 when she had me.
Yeah.
And then she lost her mom 2 years later, so that makes her 17. Mm-hmm. How much did she really gain? Even her sense of family was, she was the second oldest. Her sister was like her dad. They ran the streets, So she basically looking after just 5, 6 other, individuals in the household. So, and me and my mom had to talk about this. She didn't really get a chance to learn about parenting and stuff. She just was, hey, sometimes you on the fly.
Yeah.
And so since I didn't come from a family-oriented background, it made it difficult for even us. It made it difficult because it wasn't even in my mind to, I should be setting examples. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. It wasn't even a thought, But as I got older, I found people to emulate, and it really helped, because then I started looking at you all more and saying, hey, now, y'all need to be. Now I'm trying to tell y'all how to be more family oriented.
Yeah.
Hey, spend more time, give it to kids, do this, because
I always say that.
I know what we lack, and I know that the gap that it made, and that's even now we still closing that gap. It makes a big gap when you don't spend that time, because I told you, and I think this is a fault that happens often. Sometimes black men only get seen as being important when they ain't there. To be blamed for this, that, and other.
Oh,
she's acting that way. Her had a dad in the house, but when a man is there, it's like he don't get the respect. He's not talked a certain way. It's the whole dynamic is interesting, and that's why it's been really important to me to spend so much time with my elders, because they came from when things were still, you got your job, I got my job, and those 2 jobs is to do this job for them. That's where, I think things have changed so much because of all, because of a lot of single parenting and stuff like that. The foundation has changed.
The foundation has been trash, but
the
that's going back to the
foundation
Black Panther days and the government. Don't get me on my my Black Power stuff, because that was their plan to destroy the black family. But we ain't gonna get into that on this episode.
But the foundation changed, but a lot of it was allowed to be because we allowed it.
That part, we allowed it.
You started. People don't realize television, propaganda, all that stuff was purposely done. They doing it now.
Still to this day.
And when I mention to my friends, they look at me like, man, you tripping, or you too much focus on that. And then but then when they see it one day, I go to the house, I saw what you were saying about such and such. But I'm not a I told you so person.
I am. I'm gonna say I told you so.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. I'm not a I told you so person. I'm glad that we can have now a different conversation. But no, I could have had better. But as I got older, I had elder that I worked at. They were older, and they were married 30,
So was it the Crisis
40,
Center?
50 years. Well, Crisis Center, I was still young and spending.
Oh, I remember sleeping in the Crisis Center.
Oh, yeah.
Going downstairs playing pool and the piano.
You and your sister,
Them
y'all
old
right
crazy
there.
people used to be like,
And
that
I think
place
a
was
good thing
crazy.
y'all got from that, y'all got humbled though, because y'all got to see these type of people, and they were people in need, and they had mental problems and stuff. And by spending time, I think that kind of humbled y'all, because y'all both end up liking to do things for people.
Oh, maybe that's where we get it from.
Yes, I think.
Speaking, that's a great segue into where do I get it from?
Yeah.
Going into where do I get it from? I have mostly female friends. Some of the guy friends I've accumulated over the years, we've grown into like, that's my brother, that's my cousin, because we've just gotten that tight. With that being said, I remember like growing up, you always had this female friend. Oh, we had Madisonville, the little store right there. What's her name? She used to be right there. Then we had
Pam,
and
her family.
Maddie.
Maddie,
And you know what I mean? So you always just had a bunch of female friends.
I still got, and a lot of my mentors are females, and the males, they passed away. But but a lot of my mentors are females.
So with your long-standing friendships with women throughout your life, how did those relationships meet needs that romantic relationships didn't?
Because we can communicate with each other on a more open, honest level, without any setbacks, without any challenges, without any interruptions.
That friction.
Yeah, without any, and it makes a bit, because I actually dated someone who, I was in a relationship, we was co-workers and friends, and then we turned to a relationship, and that didn't go too well. It's like, hey, let's try to salvage this by going back to the friendship.
Yeah, that never works.
I mean, no, it did work. It's just at times, like if you want to spend time over there just talking with, if you spend too much time with them, they got that look going on. Like
that's why I say it don't ever work.
You're still single. We can still like, no, we can't. No, it's a reason why it's a reason why we're not together. We can't go that way.
I guess the follow up to that is that I guess it's safe to say that those connections felt safer per se than kind of the more emotional depth that an actual relationship would have to entail.
I think that's a part of it, because you didn't have to worry about the emotions. You didn't have to worry about those things. You can just be. Like when you got friendships and associations like that, you can just be. You don't have to prove nothing, show nothing. You can just be and it's accepted. And I think that's what worked best. When you're in a relationship, at some point in time, you got to be something that's accommodating. And those type of friendship, you don't have to be accommodating. You just be. Y'all friendship accommodates each other during the growth of that, that friendship.
Because I think about my female friends, and I don't know with you, but when I think about it now in a clear mind person, like I just don't like men.
You don't.
And let me explain. Generally speaking, like some
you
cool,
but
my experience has always just been they was jealous of me. In the West High, I left West High, granted because I moved with you. But that last day got jumped because some dude was jealous of me because the girls liked me.
And now, see, I understand
I
that,
never
up in Fair Apartments, same thing. Two guys wanted to jump me, but what they didn't understand was that the people just like coming hanging around me. They just like coming around. They had a place they can come. Their mom knew where they was at. They know all the things we were doing, but they come there, they hang out, they felt safe, they had a good time. They had people who listened to them, not trying to take advantage, not trying to do anything. They're not trying to scheme them, not on some BS. But yeah, I had the same thing growing up. I had the same thing, but it was out of respect, but they still, they had resentment towards me.
So, and I think, and like I said, that, and then some of the men my mom dated, And in those kind of situations, I've just even like friends up until let me see, probably what was I, 22, 23, 3 years old, having a close friend think that I wanted to sleep with his girlfriend.
Yeah. I've had that.
With zero, like I remember I let him borrow my parking pass. And he had it for so long, and I remember getting a ticket, and I was like, "Hey, I need my parking pass back." And he was like, "All right, well, as soon as she pull up, I'm getting in the car and leaving. So you need to be there at this exact time."
Oh.
I'm like, "Why don't you just have her take it in the house, and I'll just come get it later, like, cause I know I'm not gonna be there at that exact time." And at this point, we had a key to each other's house. He done called me, asked me what I'm gonna do, what we doing later on, and I hear my smoke detector like, "Is you at my house?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing the game." Like, how you know that you got cameras in here? Like, we're that close.
Right.
And I remember hanging up the phone with him. I'm like calling his girl because we're that close. "Can you take my parking pass upstairs? Like, I'm gonna come get it later on." Like, he talking about some be there at this exact time. Like, it's crazy. I ain't gonna be there. She said, "All right, I got you, bro." Hung up the phone. The next morning, I don't know why he did this, but I hear a phone ringing in my living room. I come out there. It's my key to my apartment, my parking pass, and his phone. And he's like, "Oh, I left my phone in there. Can you bring it out?" So I bring it out and give it to him. And I just was like, and this was like the second time he brought up something about,
that's good.
wanting me to take one of his girls or something like that. So with my experience with men, it's just been that, like, outside of my brothers and my bros, y'all know who y'all are. People who I grew up in the neighborhood and North Side area, but like making new friends has been like, nah. Women have just always been just cool.
Right.
Like you said, there don't be no hidden agendas. We just party, we have fun.
But you saw that coming up,
And I saw that coming up.
Man, but women have a tendency to gyrate towards a person's. It's more about their personality and how they are as a person, so they feel comfortable. And a lot of them don't have to do with sex and stuff. They just feel comfortable hanging out with this person. Yes, in my teens and early 20s and 30s, yeah, guys had problems with my relationship with women, but I didn't.
Right.
Because actually, if they just watched me, and I'm gonna give you a good example. There's one place where I work. I started there when I was 21 years old, and I mean, you're talking about like roosting in a hen house. I mean, because I got there and but they were older women, they were mature women, they were educated women, But I was like, wow, all these black women, man. I was like, wow. But just being me, say like I get their door open, or I open doors for them. I carry something for them. It's snowing. I clean their cars off or something like. And the guys was laughing at me. They were laughing at me. They told me. I'm talking about the conversation we had. They were laughing. "Man, you see you running around doing all this thing for women," but then they saw me driving their cars, getting lunch bought for me, and all that other stuff. All of a sudden, they want to do those things, But I was just being me, treating people the same way they treat me.
Right. Just being a good human being. That's why I say it so many times.
Really, it's just being, and it's just beings. And some people are, some people aren't. And sometimes the people that not, they got a problem with the ones that are.
Yep.
But instead of saying, "Hey, if I want this kind of attention, won't I just give a little bit?" No, I'm just gonna hate on that person.
Right.
Or I don't like to hate, but I'm just gonna have this feeling towards that person, and just because I can't be better than myself.
Right. Yeah, it's so
but
crazy.
ain't
That's still
nothing
going on to this
anybody can
day.
hark on. Women get the same thing. I'm gonna give you an example. I use this a lot when I'm talking to some of my female friends. I said, you got a very attractive woman, she's very attractive, built and everything, but she's also a very nice person. Let her come up in an office where just a few men is more women, and let her come up in there with that happy attitude, and everybody just speak, especially the men, everybody just like her and stuff. Man, them older women there, them boy, they hate on her like, but look at that. Ooh, her happy ass coming through here. She would just hate on her automatically just because everyone likes her.
So I guess it's safe to say that people just hate people that other people like.
Yeah. But if those things happen, then really all you can do is just be comfortable, speak to everybody, and let them see you on a regular basis, be consistent. They'll either get it or they won't. There's nothing you can do about that. And women know it. Women do it. They deal with that a lot.
Yeah. Y'all do with that, women?
Yeah.
Put that in the comments.
People hating on them and disliking them just because they're just being regular and just being themselves.
So let's go back a little bit. So as a father, what do you think you gave your children And what do you feel you couldn't give your children at the time?
Oh man, I think the most they got from me. I think the most you got me. You know, the kid. Y'all got from me. I think the most y'all got from me is just being as an individual and just how y'all with people. I think because y'all watch me work with so many people and be with so many people and just be consistent with people. I was mechanically inclined. You picked up a little bit of it, but you never watched me like work
A little
on
bit.
something.
I built a whole half of an engine.
Yeah, I know. I know. But a lot of it, you didn't watch me do a lot of that stuff. You just knew from watching some of the small things I did, and you just build on top of that. Your mother was mechanically inclined. I just call her my little grease monkey. One time I had a little car, it was broken down, so we taking parts off, and she's sitting up in the engine. And, we taking the thing apart so we can sell the parts. I'm serious. But, like I said, if I had been more family oriented, I think I would have shown a lot more. Sometimes I think like if I'd have had certain type of jobs or I wasn't like a hustler, I'm just thinking of some of the things these people pass to their kids. But me, I was in the service department. I was in the department of looking out for people, helping people get where they're trying to go. So how do you really show that to your kids except them just watching you? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But that was my department, helping people get where they're trying to go. And I told you, I always felt that y'all was all right. Me and your mom went together. I always felt y'all was all right because y'all had structure. I was still spending, but y'all had structure. Y'all had a house, and she was married, and y'all had structure. So I didn't think I didn't think I was important.
That is deep.
So I was just out working, and just I had two jobs. One they knew about, one they didn't know about. Because I had to, make sure I had enough money. They want to take their money for y'all, and I had to make sure I had money for myself. But yeah, so and then that and trying to have a social life. So yeah, that I if things were different and I would had if I had a foresight, or they call it now hindsight, but if
Yeah,
I had
hindsight.
foresight to know how being then would affect, yeah, I would have been a little different, a little more hands on. I'd spent more time. Because the times we did spend together was always happy, it was always laughing, it was always, yeah, with daddy, yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would have had more of those times. Because I see how, as I got older, I see how important. That's why I imposed that on y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, spend time with the kids and like your sister. Like, hey, I know y'all go a lot of places, but that's car. Spend time together, listening to each other.
That was very deep. So when you said you had to feel your way through love, do you think that's why emotional distance felt safer than emotional dependence?
I think that the independence part, and it really just took over. It took over the emotions and everything. I could have used that feeling of love more. That, like I said, that sharing of wanting and needing. You get so independent that you forget about the need. You start dealing with them wants,
That's a
and you
bar.
forget about the need. Her her needs. Also. People like to feel needed. And if you're always doing stuff and you got it, I got it. You forget people like to feel needed.
Yeah.
So like I said, sometimes you got to stop and like, hey, let me turn this down, and let me not be so Superman. Let me take that cape off and stuff. Let me be a little vulnerable. Let me let you help me. Let me let you be with me. Let me help you support me. Like and I don't mean support like take care.
Right.
I mean support like be there for each other.
Right.
And that's I think that's some of the things. And like and I keep saying it, but that's one of the things I get from my elders when I pay attention to my elders, because 50, 60 years marriage, and it came from supporting each other.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's where I was going with next. Because you mentioned a lot, like how you kind of emulated some of your elders. You have a lot of elders that you kind of connect with and talk to and be around. Did being around them not make you want that relationship? Like, you know what? I see how y'all been married this long. Like, I want that. How can I get that? Let me emulate that.
But I didn't see it that way at first, because like I said, I didn't really pay attention to them until, it's only been like maybe 10, 15 years I really started paying attention and wanting to try to emulate that or have that for myself. like I said before the end, I was just allowed to be and just accepting as and just going with daily stuff, really not having a plan or a pattern or a goal. It's just existing, and then I started seeing, and I think we talked at one point in my life when I started seeing what type of people I was attracting to me. It's like, why am I keep ending up with these same type people? So I had to step outside my bubble and look inside and say, you know what? I need to change me because I'm attracting these people and doing that attraction and doing that relationship. I'm still tumbling. I'm still not getting exactly what I need. And then as I started paying more attention and spending more time with my elders, like, you know what? I was right about what I wanted, and just being patient to get it.
You said you were paying more attention to them over the last 10, 15 years or so, give or take. Let's go back a little bit further than that. So I haven't really seen you in a relationship since your marriage. Before the marriage, I seen you around women all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm smiling at that, probably because I'll be around women all the time. It's like, nah. One thing that I will say that I'm proud of, I guess, myself for, because like I said, some of the things we heal from how we grew up and stuff like that, is that I never really had my kids around a lot of women.
Right.
Like, I think Leah's 14 now. Mm-hmm. She's probably seen me with maybe 3 women, maybe 3, maybe 4 at absolute max. Cam is about to be 19 this year. I think he might have seen it maybe 4, maybe 5. I'm just adding that extra one on there just in case I forgot about somebody. So I definitely pride myself on that part of it, because I really pride myself on like not having my kids around people just because I was around people. So since marriage, I guess what I want to know is from after the divorce, I would say, to now, because literally, I think grandma told me you had a lady friend. You just mentioned a lady friend. I haven't heard nothing about no lady friend since the divorce. So with that being said, what you been doing? Like, why no relationships? Why I haven't met anybody? Why?
Well, it's not that I haven't had. You got to remember, at one part of time, I wasn't in a position where I can really date like I would like to. I mean, because of where I lived, and it was with ex person lived downstairs. I had a relationship with them. The mother and the sister. We all live in the same building.
There we go. Yeah,
I did not feel it was cool to bring people.
No,
for sure. Bring people inside. I just thought it was disrespectful.
For sure.
So I dated outside, and then the 2 people I dated, I spent the most time with, they had issues with not being able to come over my house, and So I said, like, listen, because from day one I said, listen, this is how it is. This is where I live. This is the situation. You can't go over there. Out of respect, I'm not parading you in front of people. I'm just not doing that. So we didn't have that type of girlfriend boyfriend relationship, which is cool because the majority of my life, 80% of my life was I didn't have that boyfriend girlfriend relationship. I had people I dated, but I didn't 80%. Have to do that. I didn't have to. We didn't have to have that title.
Right.
For us to enjoy each other's company and to be with each other. So 80% of my life, I did not have to do boyfriend, girlfriend. It made a big difference. So when I had it, so now, even now, and the person I'm seeing, it's like, I want to make sure, because, people see it and like, oh, y'all look good together and family. I said, because people get so caught up in your relationship. So if it fails, they feel a failure too. So I say
my Facebook friends and my social media friends.
Before I let everybody get so caught up in us, I'm gonna make sure it's right. Because if somebody care about you, and if it fails, now they disappointed too. And why set them up like that? Let's just wait till it's solid, make sure it's right, and then we can do all this picnic and all that. We can do all that stuff. It's just so
funny because my social media friends, they be on my, but I've done, I don't say exposed them, but I've done introduced them to, it's only been like 2, 3 women, and they get so engulfed in
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
relationships, and they
yeah,
see
you
me
can't-
being a lover boy, and they see us
If
being
they
so
like
happy.
you, they want you to be, and then they all into it like a soap opera,
And then when they break up, they be like,
right,
don't be sharing us the happy moments, but don't tell us why y'all broke up. Like,
Right,
nah, we need the tea.
right.
So that is crazy that you felt that same way too. With that being said, season 1 was all about me wanting to date better. I wanted to date better. Like, okay, it's got to be something I'm doing wrong. I know how to be a good man. I know my role. I know how to let her play her role. I know I'm not operating in any trauma specifically or whatever. But I just was failed relationship. So I'm like, okay, it's got to be me. I know I'm moving too fast. I know I'm probably doing something wrong. So I basically sat down with a bunch of people and just basically picked at their brain, took some gems, left some stuff because some people would just say some crazy stuff, and try to date better. This season about after going through a traumatic breakup, y'all know about that traumatic breakup and me being depressed and heartbreak for the first time at 39 years old.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It was
like you got way too into it.
Way too in.
Yeah.
In 8
See,
weeks.
That's when
way
you make
too
a phone
fast.
call to your dad while you doing before and doing and all that
I'm
stuff.
telling you, I was down bad. I was down terribly. But I think it was a godsend for sure. I keep telling everybody because it had to be God involved in that whole situation. He needed to crush my ego, make me learn a lesson, to make me as better for what I am now.
But during those times is when you make the phone call because you know you've been there with me. You know, if nobody have
I had to sit in it. I think that was a lesson I learned in that. I had to sit in that, and sitting in it in isolation by myself. Like, and when I say God saying, because there were certain people, women, I reached out to who, when it was for the fun, they was all down to come over and da da da.
Right.
But now I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing none of that. I just need some company. I just need to watch a movie. It was, nah, I can't come over. Nah. So God was purposely blocking me from sitting with anybody. I really had to sit with myself. So I said all that to say, now that you've out of that situation of living upstairs, downstairs, whatever, you have your house now, with this new relationship, have you learned from mistakes? Have you sat down and learned from mistakes? Have you sat down and thought about the lessons you've learned from your elders, gems to pick up, gems to leave where they're at, to make you different with this one than you were with any of the last ones?
You gotta look at. I'm 63 now.
What that mean?
No. I'm just saying. I've been locked in on certain things a long time.
Locked in like what?
Just locked in on exactly what I want, what I'm looking for. One of the things I say now, and it works for me. I'm only speaking of myself. I got boxes to check.
Right.
These are stuff I need. I want all those. I need all those boxes checked.
All of them.
All of them. Why? Because and then one person said to me, "Well, you're trying to get someone that's perfect." No. I need someone that's perfectly for what I need.
Perfect for me. I say that all the time. Perfect for me.
All these boxes need to be checked because if one is unchecked, it's that one little box. When you have your first argument or something, that little thing gets a big thing. Now it's a bigger thing. No, I need you to check these things because that's what I need. Not what I want. That's what I need. And that's not about being perfect. It's about giving me exactly what I need. And the women should have check these boxes.
For sure.
Not this one don't get a half a check or half a mark. No. I need these things checked because they're important to me. And so just like the person I'm saying, and I say, hey, and I'm honest with her, like, hey, okay, you've been checking some boxes you didn't even know about. But still there's some other things I see. So no, I'm not totally, we're not totally like, okay, so the things is as smooth as glass.
Right.
It's still in a growing stage, and and she don't like it, but, I say things like, God got a sense of humor. Sometimes it ain't funny. You think you got all this going on and, and then something fall out and then it's like psych. You know what I mean? Because, just because the look and feel right and everybody's saying this, that, and other, I always say until you get to that final. No, you got to stay optimistic. Just pay attention and just see what communication.
So y'all see
And
where I
that's
get it
being-
from. Communication, I tell the people every time. Communication in any relationship has to be the basement,
Yeah.
the foundation,
Right.
and the
Right.
first floor.
Right. And I think one of the issues I was having with women is I don't play games. Period. I said, I know them all. I know a shortcut. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing
Ooh.
games, I'll be there sitting.
Bars.
I'll be there sitting,
Bars.
waiting for you because I don't. Period. I grew up around women. The 28 years I had in work life was 85% women. So I'm not saying I know women. I'm just saying I paid attention enough to understand when things are and they're not. You know. So communication, number one. Saying what you want, number two. Being very direct about it is number three.
Right.
I don't play games. Some people like to play little games because they think it's cute, or they want to do things to see if you really like me. All that little stuff. Stop
Chase
playing
me,
games.
chase me.
Just be straight up and honest. And if you need all that little stuff to feel a certain way, check your ego, check your self-esteem, check that little stuff out. Be honest with yourself first. And that's another thing. People spend time looking in the mirror, step outside your bubble, look at yourself seriously, and be honest with yourself and bring that to a relationship.
It's hard for a lot of people to be honest with themselves. With that being said, I'm intrigued by what some of your boxes might be. Like, what's your? Because sometimes it's hard to put them in 1, 2, 3. But like, you had like most important, 2, and then like a few after that.
And that's interesting because I think to me, number one, as far as when it comes down to a woman, is be totally satisfied with yourself. You got to be satisfied with yourself. If you're not satisfied with yourself, you're going to bring all these ifs and maybes and I can be, all the doubts and stuff that bring, so you need me to support that or say things to you to make you feel better about yourself. No, come on.
So they gotta have like a higher self-esteem.
Yeah, or just a self-esteem, period. You ain't got to be high or low. Just be
I like how
comfortable
you
with
worded
yourself.
that.
Be honest with
Verbiage.
yourself. Know what you want. Come into the relationship knowing what you want. And communication. Number 2, be open and honest. Let's talk open and honestly. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, let's talk about it. And I asked this question, and when I asked this question, she,
Hold on real quick.
felt a little uncomfortable, but I thought it was pretty honest. We've had different relationships and stuff. Is there anybody here that you have a hard time resisting? Have you shut things off where you are cool with yourself that people can't still push your buttons? And I said to her, because if there's somebody you still kind of got a doubt something about, maybe, hey, don't date.
Right.
I don't have
That's a good
any
question.
issue with somebody going back to somebody it used to be. I don't have that type of little low self-esteem where I'm like, oh, they left me. And no.
Because we grew up independent.
I want you to be honest. I want you to be happy.
Right.
Because I think that's one of the things relationships is to make each other happy. If your happiness means going back to somebody who you was with and maybe they got their stuff together, some of the things you didn't like they got together, and you want to go back to them. Bye. Because I'd rather if you take care of that than trying to hold on like I got what you left me. No,
Right.
no. Go do your thing because mine is still out there.
Yeah.
And I want to say it to the person I'm saying, like, hey, because if things falter or fail, at least nothing else. I got closer to what I'm trying to do. I got closer to who I'm trying to be with. So I'm cool with that.
You learned a lesson, basically.
I'm
So
cool
you
with
got
that.
communication. They have to have a self-esteem about themselves. What would be 2 more? Give me 2 more.
Devotion and honesty. Because those 2 things people have a lot of trouble with. Devotion.
I would say go
and
into devotion
honesty.
with me. What devotion? What does that look like for you?
Devotion to the relationship, devotion to you, devotion to themselves, devotion. Meaning that nothing on the outside can disrupt that relationship. Her feelings for you, her feelings for herself. Nothing on the outside can disrupt that.
That's a good
Because
one.
of the devotion that they have, and I told her, sometimes you got to make a sacrifice. I did. I had to make a sacrifice to the little things I would like to do, or I had to make sacrifice to my little desires. I got to make sacrifices
Right.
of people who I know I can make a phone call to and they there, But if you really want something,
Yeah.
you make a sacrifice. And that's another thing. People don't like making sacrifices.
They don't.
Or
compromises.
or they they think it'll be harder than it actually is. But I always say to break habits and stuff. I use this. This is my analogy of it. I don't like analogy, but anyway, this is
Your example of it?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
My example.
There we go.
It was, but I always say if when pick your hand up, put your hand down, do this, do that. If you can, hey, it's as simple to me. It's as simple as that. To not do something, it's as simple as just don't do it.
Yeah.
To do something, it's as simple as just do it. When I stopped smoking cigarettes, I had smoked for, almost 40 years.
I don't even remember you smoking.
Right. But I did. And then one day, and this is what happened. Jacob, the youngest, went to the doctor and he had like a little cold or something. She asked, anybody smoke? I said, I smoke, but I smoke outside. She said, well, if you smoke outside, it's still in your clothes and he breathing it in. That night when I was laying in his room, I just put him back to bed because he, put him back to sleep. So I'm laying there, I said, silly. I stopped eating beef and pork because of the cancer in the family, and I'm smoking cigarettes.
That's
And I said, you know what? I control my hands. If I don't pick up a cigarette, I won't smoke. I didn't pick up another cigarette, and I haven't smoked since. And I know people say, oh, that's hard to do. No, it's not. It's not hard to not pick up something.
I tell people all the time, the mind is a powerful thing.
It's not hard to not do something. It's not hard.
Mind is a powerful thing.
Just don't do it.
That makes sense. So, looking at me now, even though I'm great and perfect now, it's like, nah. I only said it because my last 2 episodes, I talked about my ego and how I got rid of it. And well, actually, I ain't gonna say how I got rid of it, how it got crushed and died.
You had an ego, huh?
My ego was big. But it made sense, though. In the same sense as yours, like how you just said how you just don't play about you.
Yeah.
Like,
But it wasn't an ego. It was just a way of being.
that's what I said, Dad. But everyone else told me it was my ego.
No, it's
but I
not
just
ego.
said I grew up in an environment where I felt mistreated. So when I couldn't leave, I had no choice. So as an adult, if someone mistreats me and I properly communicate, because I can properly communicate now, hey, this makes me feel mistreated. I need you to work on this behavior. And you don't, or if I say this is my boundary and you don't care, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, and I always say, and I tell people, and as kids, I mentioned this, no one has a right to treat you any way you don't like to be treated. Parent, grandparent, nobody has a right to treat you in the way you don't like to be treated. Period. You don't have to put up with it. And I also said, now I said this to the younger kids, I told them, the hardest thing you're going to ever have to do in your life is to be yourself. Because everybody going to want you to be a certain way that accommodates them. From mother, father, friends, everybody wants you to be a certain way, but they'll respect you more if you say no, and just be as you are. But first, you got to know who are you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you are locked into yourself, just try to be consistent. And just, don't, you gotta fight that outside stuff because everybody wants you to be something that accommodates them, man.
I was very blessed and to grow up with middle child syndrome and become myself. So looking at me now, my relationships, my patterns, even though you've probably only seen like one girl in the past, I don't know how many years, a little short light-skinned one with the dog. That's what we call her on the channel, short light-skinned girl with the dog.
Did I see the woman stuff?
Because she got the family reunion.
Oh,
the family picnic.
Okay, but I really,
You saw her at one time.
When I saw you with females, I really didn't give it a whole lot of. I didn't give it a whole lot.
I can't recall you seeing me with.
Well, I mean, when I met them, that's what I say.
I can't remember you meeting any.
Oh yeah, I met Cam. I liked her.
Yeah.
I liked her. I spent time with her, a little time with her, and Aaliyah.
Okay,
I
our mama.
Right. Y'all came out of my apartment that time. Y'all came out of my apartment that time when I was
1, 2,
Yeah.
so 3.
Right.
3 in the past 19 years.
But the thing was, I wasn't like, oh, that's
what's going on.
I was just like, hey, how you doing? And because I'll wait for consistency. I don't get on board like, hey, he gotta. No, I don't know. No,
That is true.
Especially y'all young. No.
So looking at me now, my relationship patterns, even my patterns as a father, my pattern as just a man, what do you recognize as something I might have learned from watching you or picked up from watching you? Good, bad, and or indifferent.
I think bad might have been when I say, hey, don't let your view choose who you want to be with. You know what I mean? Don't get into the bodies and all that stuff because that's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to be attracted to someone, very easy. But, I always say you got to be careful because you'll be attracted for one thing and not have the need for another, and you'll end up with a kid with them. So now you got that, that's, I lived it. So, I'm like, I never wanted you to live the life I lived.
Yeah.
That's why I always believe when you learn something, you teach.
Yeah.
And I never wanted you,
You just wanted me to go to the army for so bad. Like, he wanted me to go to the army so bad.
Bro,
I'm not
I
going
wanted you
the
to get
army.
out. I wanted you to get away because I knew you was a handsome fella. Your personality and everything. You was gonna draw people to you, especially women. You're gonna draw people to you. And because I was thinking about myself and how hey, I was 19 with my first one, 21 with my second one, 23 with my third one. I didn't want you to do that same thing.
Yeah.
I want you, not only that, I want you to get away and get some discipline. I want you to see the world. I want you to see that it's such a bigger picture. And I thought you would really grow being on the outside of it and then travel. I wanted you to travel to learn something. That's why I want you to get out of here.
You always said that.
I wanted you to get out of here because
it wasn't in my cards, though.
I knew what was going to happen if you stayed. I wanted you to get out because I knew what was going to happen if you stayed.
And here I am. Almost in the same predicament.
But what you got from it, and I always say you're not the job is not to stop you from getting the little bumps and bruises and stuff that you're gonna get.
I always say that.
But to try to stop you from getting those deep scars those deep wounds that don't heal.
Right.
Those what I try to stop you all from getting. Those deep wounds. Those little bumps and bruises, that's where you get common sense and stuff from.
Yeah.
But those deep wounds, see, they go through life with you. That's where you walk through life with baggage.
Yeah.
And I just wanted as less as those as possible for y'all.
Well, here I am. But one thing I do have to say that, what's so crazy, even with that, because you remember I signed up for the military, I was in the ROTC thing and all of that. But I remember like yesterday, I went to Columbus.
Remember what I told you when I met the young lady who came there?
She was fine.
I said, son,
she was fine.
I said, son, you're not getting none of that.
She was. Hey, whoever my ROTC, I cannot remember her name, but she.
I said, son, I said, they using these people to get y'all, son. You're not getting none of that.
And she got me. But I ended up going. I went to Columbus and all of that, signed up. And I had a planter's wart on the bottom of my foot.
Yeah, I know you had something to stop you from going in, and then you didn't want to go.
And they said I had to come back, and then I had to take care of that, and then to come back.
Right.
So like I said, now that I'm more in tune with God, everything's a God saying it.
Yeah.
I could have probably died. I probably would have been in Iran.
No, or the other thing, or with your personality and your ways, you would have went in there and you would just exploded and been like.
No, if that was.
Yeah. You had the capability.
God was protecting me.
You had
a planter's wart that I've never seen in my life before then or after that.
You had the capabilities. You have the capabilities of being and doing anything you want.
Correct.
You would have been. You'd have excelled the same way if you'd have went. I know.
I would have excelled, and I would have been in the field, and I would have.
You don't know.
Hit a mine.
No.
God didn't have that in my cards.
Because of your personality, because of your smart, your intuition, your desire, you would probably been in a commanding role.
Oh yeah, probably for sure.
And
I
not
definitely
been there.
Commanding, yeah, for sure.
You'd have had the discipline to, and you'd probably been in a commanding role because you're likable, you're smart.
Mm-hmm.
You would probably been in a commanding role.
Oh, they would have hated me.
You remember in high school when they took y'all down there to debate?
Oh yeah.
Remember? Who won the debate?
Oh, me for
sure.
Yeah,
you won the debate, right?
Actually, I think we're gonna talk about life past. I think I was supposed to be a lawyer.
Right.
Not gonna hold you.
I told you.
Not gonna hold you.
I told you.
But it was just too much reading, and reading makes me sleepy, and I just was like, you know what?
Yeah, but I told you should be a lawyer because of your mind, the way you read things, the way you see things. I told you, but people, as they say, you can lead them to the water, you can't make them drink.
That is true. But I think, like I said, God gives us free will,
right?
And He allows us to. All right, I had this in your cards. You ain't want to do that. Okay, Now I'm here
Mm-hmm.
doing this and being successful and
Yeah, and I like
helping
the
other
title,
people
man. I
and
really like the title. The title of the show, I thought that was, real creative.
Connection through chaos.
And in one episode, Anxious.
Anxious
Yeah.
attachment.
I thought that was pretty cool.
In my solo episode.
You know,
Yeah.
and then my female friends, she's like, "What did you get from that?" I said, "I get nothing from that. I'm the one who keep telling you." I said, "I'm the one who keep telling you when you say, hey, everyone is saying this and that." I said, "Hey, that's people are saying what they see. Just because they see something don't mean it is."
So she got anxious attachment.
I don't know.
That's what you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to digest. You're supposed to get that from the show. You're supposed to figure it out.
But she was trying to say, like, "Did you learn something?" I was like, "No,
You know what's so crazy?
Yeah.
Not even, I don't know your dating style, but just because of the fact that you grew up so independent,
Right.
so your own world. If I had to really dissect you and sit you down and have you answer a bunch of questions, you were probably more so an avoidant attachment style. Meaning, when people get close, you may not be like blah, but sometimes you might be like, what's your agenda? Or I'm cool by myself. I'll let you in when I feel like letting you in.
No, I actually.
Or you might be secure. It's gonna be one of the two.
Actually, what I learned to do in life is let people earn what they get from me, because that's how
Make them earn.
let them earn what they get from me.
Let them or make them.
Let them earn what they get from me, because that's what I like to do with them. I don't like when. One time I dated a person. Man, we went together 2 weeks, and she told me how she loved me. How much do you love me? We've been together 2 weeks.
I feel attacked. I feel attacked because
I'm just saying,
I be like that with some people, and they be like that with me.
2 weeks. You don't even know me. You saying you love me? Come on. No. I like to because and just like with you, and just like with Jacob, I always say
Just like me.
I let y'all earn what y'all get from me. You want to tell me like cars and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Pay me, buy the car, because
Yeah, I
you're gonna
still don't-
appreciate
I
it.
sound like
if
that
I
effect.
give y'all something, y'all screw it up. Y'all
I ain't gonna hold you. That is one of the
don't
lessons
have
that
no
I
respect
do
whatsoever.
value, that you did make me earn things.
You
That
earned
is
something.
something
If you earn it,
you appreciate
that car,
it more.
You had your jewelry on the side of it. You was out there putting a bumper on it.
Yeah. Man, I love that old school Delta
Because
88. I'm gonna put that on the show
earned it.
right here.
And
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I learned also. If people don't earn something, sometimes they don't have a lot of respect for it.
Oh, that's a bar.
They don't.
Make people earn you, earn access to you, earn your trust,
Because
earn your
if they
love.
don't, if you keep
Ooh.
giving, honestly, not too long ago, because just me being me, and just doing something for somebody nice and stuff like that. And I'm gonna give you an example. We was at a restaurant, and after we we sat down and everything, and then the order came, and she looked at me like the food is ready. I'm like, and yeah, she looked at me like, am I gonna get up and go get the food? Really? I said, tell you what, one of us gonna get the food, one of us gonna go to get condiments. Which one you want to do? But the fact that you automatically said, just because of the way I've been doing things now, and women, this is not some masculinity or some male chauvinist things, but I noticed that women who are grounded or who are in a relationship where they care, they're always caring. For me to sit, we're both sitting down, and the food come. Now I pay for it this time. We go back and forth. I pay for it this time and everything. But let's sit down, and you're gonna say, "Hey, the food is ready." Like, are you gonna go get it? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Interesting.
Because, just like I fix your car, just like come on.
Yeah. I'm not gonna hold you, and I keep it real with my people on this show. There are male and female. There are roles.
I'm just saying, but it's odd
because I don't play the hypocrite stuff.
Right.
You can't say, oh, it's a man's job to take out the trash and and fix my car, but then when it comes time we at a restaurant, oh, any of us can go to. No, it's you go get the food and bring it to us.
I'm gonna say this, and because I've had this conversation with women. It's been another show, and they've been kind of angry about it, but that's because they're looking at themselves. I said,
They be hypocrites.
There's a habit, there's a way. Women, when males, the male child, they always say, you be polite, you be this, you be that, you be that. And then when I asked him, so what do you teach your daughter what to do for a man? Guess what? Silence. Silence.
I made a post about that. I said, you know, through life, men are taught so much about women. We're taught how to how to court them, how to be a gentleman, how to do this,
Right.
and they teach their daughters like a man needs to teach you like da.
Right.
But then I asked them, I said, women, what were you taught about being a woman to a man?
Silence.
And a lot of them were like, damn.
Right.
I never, oh, that's the first time I cussed.
Right.
They were like, dang, I never thought about that. Like, dang, I never was taught anything.
Right.
Like, a lot of them were honest. It was like, dang.
And so when men and women meet and he end up accepting all she have to give, but he needs something more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if women under the impression that all a man, they think men are just penis driven. If they think I got this body, I got
That and
this,
money.
I got that, and I'm black, I'm all that old stuff. And that's good enough. But he got to have all these other things. No, it's I think the complete package it goes beyond physical.
For sure.
And some of the things so what do you bring to the table? What do you bring for me? This is what I bring. What are you bringing for me? I had a person once told me, I call her a scholar. She told me her friend told her, if a man asks you what you bring to the table, you don't need to mess with that man.
That's so funny. I just seen a post like that today. That's so crazy. I literally just saw a post like that today. I mean, I wouldn't word it like that, bring it to the table. It's never that verbiage, but it's like, hey, what are we doing here? What are we building?
I just feel that we supposed to look out for each other. And that's one of the things I get from my elders. When I spend time talking with them, when I think about when I was younger, looking at them, it was all about looking out for each other. And that conversation is just not had. Now, we all off on something else, but that conversation is just not had at the table anymore. Other races are still saying, you do this, period.
Right.
But now, I mean, honestly, hey, I've had conversations with women, and I say, hey, do you fix your husband a sandwich? I ain't this damn slave. I mean, I'm serious.
At this age, at that age,
I had a conversation with my aunt who's been married for almost 50 years. When I spoke to her about how this one relationship I had was, I called and she know I've been at work and said, hey, you want to make you a bath or something like that?
Yeah.
My aunt said to me, she said, I ain't never been that kind of wife. Now,
Never.
she's been married to her husband 50 years. They've been together. I mean, no BS around.
What's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, I guess.
He's done everything he's supposed. But she said, no, I ain't never been that kind of wife. You never been that kind of wife. If your husband called you, you can't run him a bath. Wow.
But I will say that, not picking sides, that that I ain't gonna say that our stipulation for certain people is the end all be all for everybody.
Right.
Like, she's not that type of wife.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Because some people,
He was cool with
he been
her
cool with it.
not being that type of wife.
Because he's been cool with it. Right.
If it works for y'all, then that's what I say with everybody.
Right.
Like, because what's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander, and that makes a great point, because when it comes to dating and relationships, I try to tell everybody, like, there's no such thing as a blanket all. There's no such thing as a cover all. Like, what maybe worked for this social media couple may not work for you. What works for you may not work for the other person. Hence the title, Connection Through Chaos. Like, you have to find out what connects you and this person, and not have these frivolous lists and create this facade based off of what you've seen on social media or what your girlfriend said. Like you said, her friend told her XYZ. Like,
but that's a very, very touchy subject. And like I said, we can delve into that another time, because that's the show itself, though. Because
for sure,
my female friends were very angry when I asked them that. Like, what did you teach your daughters? And they got very angry. They got very defensive because now you got to maybe share some of the blame of why she is and why she's had the type of relationship she's had.
That part,
and they don't like that. They
part.
don't like to feel blamed. Like I'm saying, look, I'm
nobody
not saying,
likes to be like, oh, you're blaming the women. You're blaming the women. No, it's just
I'm just
facts
saying,
is facts.
If because men get blamed,
they ain't got no problem blaming men.
And the most recent thing, real quick, is like, they said, well, a man went in her house to show her how she should be with a man. No, her mom chose the man, so her mom shows her how to choose the right man. Not dad.
Clock it.
Tell her how to find me.
Right.
No, mom. If dad's in the house and you're loving dad, because mom made the choice.
Or
Mom is supposed
stepfather.
to teach you about making choices, because sometimes mom, just like dad, got to teach son how to make decisions over desire.
Right.
You know, mom got to teach daughter how to make decisions over desire, how to make this. You know, it's just we gotta look out for each other. But like I said, that's another topic, another subject. One of the things I'm interested in, because when I watched the show, when I watched it, podcast for the first time, actually when I first saw the name, I was like, man, that's cool a name.
Yeah.
You know. So how did you come up with that? What made that be that perfect title for your podcast?
Okay, that's a good question. Now it's on me. Now that I'm in the hot seat. So I guess it starts back to like why I started the podcast, I suppose. And for me, on my healing journey, after a breakup that I thought we were gonna last for the longest, like she matched my vibe, she had the same energy. I thought we were about to be the one. Me and her were doing like some lives and some interview questions and like kind of opening up about communication and how we are and whatnot. And then when that ended, I took a step back and was like, first I started writing a memoir. That my memoir is gonna be good. I'm gonna run that by you because you're a writer too. I started writing a memoir, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna turn it into a podcast. Cause for me, it's like there's so much chaos out there, and chaos is in rhetoric,
Right.
social media stuff,
Right. Propaganda.
men versus women, propaganda. On top of that's the new age stuff. On top of the generational stuff, the stuff from here I am getting into my Black Power stuff when the government tried to separate the Black family because they see how strong we are together.
Yeah,
well, they did.
Right.
They separated the Black family because they seen how strong we were together and all that one stuff. So now you got that. It's just a bunch of chaos. And all we all are trying to do is find a way to connect. Find our person. That's what we say nowadays. You old school, but even I'm 40 now.
You're 40, I know. I was just telling Miss Sylvia. I said, how old is? I said
40. So, but even us, we're just trying to find our person. We're trying to find that person who fits into our life like a puzzle piece, who we can see ourselves with for the long run, that checks all the boxes. But what it is, we're trying to connect through all of that chaos.
Right.
Which made me start the show. Hence why I'm like, okay, all right, I know how to date. I'm healed enough. I'm not some narcissistic man. I'm not some egotistical man. I'm not some man who doesn't know how to treat women and all of the plethora of things that women mostly go through when they think about men these days. Like, oh, they don't know how to do da-da-da. I check all of those boxes, shorty. Ego, sip. But yet I'm still relationship ending. So that's what made me be like, I'm going to start a podcast. I want to learn from people. I want to sit down across from people,
like
learn how they are dating. How did they become married? I said I'm with married people. How did y'all get married? What hurdles did y'all have to go through? That way I can pick up them gems, learn, date better. That's what I did all season 1. That's what it was all about. And then season 2, now it's about me healing in public so others can heal in private, because I applied not only being a good man and all the stuff that I already knew, but all the new stuff that I picked up from season 1 into the situation that had me heartbroken for the first time at 39. I just keep saying it out there. Because it led me to this new episode.
Yeah.
I applied all of the new stuff and it still ended. And so then I had to look at myself deeper than I already had, even though I was writing a memoir, and say, you know what? Hence the introduction, connection through chaos, figuring out what's blocking us from connection, the unhealed traumas, the way we were raised. Because then I realized with that last situation that we actually pick who we date based on the traumas that we went through, our childhood, our life experience, which hence the show. We need to heal from certain things. That way that energy, we attract better people that actually meet where we are now. Like, I'm trying to be more secure now. So I have someone who is also trying to move towards being more secure. So that way we kind of navigate better.
when I think of this growth of yours, what part of our relationship, what part of, you being with me and growing up with me and, going through the things we went through, what part of that do you see as far as in you dealing with in your relationships with people? Because you didn't see me deal with like drama and stuff like that. When me and your mom was together, you were very young.
First of all, we had that one drama situation.
That one, yeah.
That one,
They kicked
I
in
don't
the
know
door.
who that lady was. I can't even remember. I was a kid. I remember her mom, once she white, she was like, these niggers in my house.
Did she cuss? Did
She
say
said
that? I remember
niggers.
that.
I remember her being racist. Her mama was racist. And it was the middle of the night. I had to get my stuff. You was helping me get my stuff on, and we was leaving. I don't even know where it was at, but that was some wild stuff right there. That was like the wildest. But granted, all those years, that was the craziest situation that I can recall to date. That still sticks to me a little bit. But outside of that, I think.
But you know what she said though? After all that, she said, "I had so much respect for you because when my mom come through there and she was going off, she said you did not.
You wasn't saying nothing. I remember you wasn't saying nothing.
You did not. Then you just, you and Adam, y'all just, she said you ain't cussed, you ain't fussed, you ain't.
Yep, I still remember you silently put my shoes on because I was little. I was little. Yeah. But outside of that, I think in hindsight now, looking at just thinking about how you were with women, you weren't the thirsty nigga, and I'm sorry to say that because I'm just my audience. You were just you, yourself. Women just gravitated towards you. They liked you for who you were. You were kind. You were generous. You were you were the you walk on the inside, I walk on the outside type of person. I'm gonna open the door for you. You just always been that type of person. I think out of all the things that make me who I am today, the manly man things, masculine, manly man. I call it manly man. Like I said, I ain't on this new age get canceled stuff. The manly things that make me the great man that I am today, I attribute to you and the things that you've taught me.
Let me tell you all this. Years ago on his Facebook, when I was looking at Facebook, I read my son said, "My mom."
That camera is off for whatever reason.
My mom. Which one? That one?
That one.
My mom. I like to thank my mom for making me the man that I am. I said, ain't that a B?
That's crazy that I said that.
Yeah, you did. Oh, yeah. I said probably because she do all the things that let you get away with and to pamper you and all that stuff. That's what that crap was.
Might have been.
I said, ain't that a B? What the hell? What the hell?
I don't know. What the helly? I would have to. I don't know that. Sometimes bits and pieces.
Yeah. Thank her for you being able to stay and share the way she take care of you and pampering you and all that stuff.
Because
mama's baby.
It must have been something that happened around that time, and that I thought about specifically attributed maybe my hands on this or my ability to be able to build things like something specifically. But outside of that, like I said, how to be like manly, and I guess I'll say. What I feel like I picked up the most from you is that the ability to like be as chivalrous as you've been, like I said, clean the women's windshields off for them, and they bring you lunch, stuff like that.
Just looking out for people.
Just looking out for people. Just being that I've attested to many times. Like just being, I call it just being a decent human being.
Right.
Which goes a long way.
I hate the term good guy. Oh, I hate that.
Don't
you hate that? You know, good. You know they call you good guy. You know what that means, though. Right. I hate. I tell them, don't call me no good guy. Ooh.
Do not. Oh, you're so sweet. Don't even say I'm so sweet.
Yeah. No.
Hate it. I'm just a decent.
No. Right. I'm
just
me.
Being.
I'm being consistent. Don't
I'm
call me no good guy.
Human being.
Yeah. Ooh.
I hate that so much. For sure.
I hate that.
But that's what I attribute the most from you. That and just now being more present with my kids, trying to be, because they're older now, and it's harder.
When that gap is there, man, it takes a minute. It takes
once that gap happens,
that gap
makes it harder.
Yeah.
But that's a whole topic.
That's another topic.
Yeah. But just trying to hey, what was the highlight of your, like my daughter when I pick her up from school? Now I'm picking her from school on Mondays. What was the highlight of your day today? at school.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to have that
yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Because
You
I
know,
like
they're
talking
older
to her.
now.
She's smart, man. She's witty.
Super
I
smart.
call her fire. You know, I would call her
She-
Daredevil. I used to call her Daredevil. You know, because when she
Yeah.
went to the fair that time, hey, I don't care how big the ride was, she wanted to get on
Yeah.
it, and I mean, people screaming and hollering. She's just with me.
Yeah.
We just riding, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I
She's
call her
very
my little,
condescending, just like me.
my little Daredevil. Yeah, just like you. When you learn to swim, you just dove in the water.
Yeah, that's how she is.
That's how you learn to swim. And then when you got the motorcycle, you're not driving, just got it, drove it. Only
I
motorcycle.
bought
you
that
ever-
motorcycle. I didn't know how to drive a motorcycle. I
only
want a
other-
motorcycle.
and only motorcycle you drive is that one. Yeah.
And I learned.
When it comes to when we're talking about relationships, you know, and I know people get comfortable. Sometimes people are a little bravado about them, and sometimes people are a little afraid. Do you have some fear? And if you do, what do you most fear when it comes down to relationship?
If I had to put a fear on it, the biggest fear I got is getting it wrong. That's my biggest fear. I remember I had a guest on here, my boy Jason. Shout out to my boy Jay. He was talking about being married for quite a while, and their fallout wasn't like drama or anything like that. He just said they grew apart. I'm right to like, that's one of my biggest fears, to get with someone and we get to a point in life, whether it's marriage or right before marriage or X amount of years in, and we're like just grown apart. Or now all of a sudden you don't know how to communicate. Now all of a sudden you switch up. Now all of a sudden things are different. That's one of my biggest fears.
You know, I think maybe in those type of relationships, sometimes people forget about the entertainment of each other in the relationship.
Oh, wholeheartedly.
You
But
know.
it hence goes back to my original thing. Because I've done the work, I know myself. I know I wouldn't be the one to change. I know I wouldn't be the one who doesn't continue to pursue my woman, make her feel loved, valued, seen, adored. Like, I know that wouldn't be me
Right.
fumbling that part
Right,
of it,
right,
just
right.
because I know the type of person I am. Like I said, you know me my whole life. It's like, nah. You know me my whole life. I've never been a people pleaser. I've never been a person who didn't know that, like, acted like anybody else. I never put up a facade and try to act like I was more than what I was.
right.
Like, I just always been myself, but I've always grown. Always grown. So, like, I know I wouldn't be the one who gets stagnant. I wouldn't be the one who wouldn't grow in this relationship. I know I wouldn't change at some point. Like I told the woman I'm dating now, like, what you see now is what you're gonna get forever. Like, I'm not a person who you're gonna have to worry about the rug being pulled underneath you unless you change.
When it comes to love, relationships, feelings, and emotions, there's a feeling of, I guess, feeling safe as far as the relationship, your feelings, your emotions. I know sometimes you can have a guard up.
Yeah.
You know, you got a wall around yourself because sometimes it's kind of hard to let somebody in because you think you're gonna get hurt. You know, it's fact. So, what do you think is more important, the love to be safe or for it to be powerful and strong? And
For me, I feel like safety is more important than anything else. Because I think once you have that safety and you feel safe, everything else kind of falls into place from there. Like, the power will build. The sense of safety, and like you said, how important it is for you to, like, be able to communicate with our female friends. Like, if I feel like I can't communicate with you openly and honestly without you being triggered to the point where you want to argue or you feel attacked or you feel like you need to, fall back and all that one stuff, then I'm not safe. This isn't a safe relationship emotionally. So for me, that trumps everything. Cause like I said, my motto is like, hey, communication is number one. It has to be the ground floor, the foundation, and the first floor. So safety and emotional safety is priority to me.
so when we're missing the term safety, and see, when you think of safety, you think of protection or something. So when you're saying safety, safe from what?
Good dissect. So for me, I mean, so safety, I think, by definition, doesn't mean like protection from per se.
Right. But
Safe is just meaning a feeling of comfort per se, a feeling of whatever the opposite of hectic and chaos is, or whatever case may be. Safe is just like safe. It might even mean neutral. If we look up the definition, I might put the definition right here somewhere. So for me, that's what I feel like safety is. Just like safe from chaos, safe from someone wanting to argue my head off, or wanting to chew my head off, or wanting to like be snappy or feel attacked. That's
Well, that's one
what
of why
safe
you
means for
chose
me.
safe instead of powerful, because powerful meaning strong.
Powerful can come from safety. Because if something powerful is cool, powerful can have a dynamic. It can have its ups and downs and its waves of whatnot. So even though I may not feel per se safe here, or she may not feel safe here, the relationship can still feel powerful. But what's power without safety?
You know, this is a question I asked your younger brother, you know, and he never could answer me. You know, and I asked him, I said, what could I have done to be better? You know, better father, better, you know, and he couldn't really, he had trouble with me asking him something so straight out and forward.
Right.
You know, what could I have done to be a better father?
Oof. That's my God. That's a good question there. Well, I would preface that with Say nah. I'll be comfortable. I put like definitions of words. I preface that with I find gift and curse of everything. The gift of growing up the way I did made me who I am today. I definitely appreciate everything that I've gone through and lack thereof, and what I did have that made me who I am today, because I have conversations with people and they're like, oh, I can't leave this person alone, even though they're detrimental to me and they done drain my bank account. They done drain my energy. I know that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I
the person
can
that
leave.
drains your bank account?
Yeah, people have been
Wow.
in like, they're like, oh, I've had to support them. Like,
Wow.
I've heard the craziest stories from friends, family, social media people. And I'm right there like, I would have left them so long ago.
Ooh, no.
But I would have left them so long ago based on everything that I went through. So I'm definitely grateful for everything that we went through, everything that I've learned, all of that. If I had to actually pick a thing like, oh, I wish you were better at this thing or these things, I would definitely have to say, I think maybe spending more time together. I definitely remember so many times we've had, like I said, I lived with you for X amount of years. I remember walking to the comic book store and,
Yeah,
and spending
you
my
still
own.
think
First
I
of
owe
all,
you something.
First of all,
think I owe you something.
First of all,
I owe you nothing, man.
I
Your
need.
books are still in the closet. You come
Where
and
are
get
they
them
at?
anytime.
You've been saying
if you
it for
think they
10
worth any
years
money.
now that those comic books are somewhere and I have yet to see them.
Whole bag of them.
I need
in
that
the
bag.
closet.
I need the bag.
No, you don't get the bag. You
I
just
need a
walk
bag.
with me. You ain't pay for nothing.
I pay for some. I remember spending
You
my own
walk-
money for some of them. One, that's first. Two, you're not doing nothing with them. Three, they're my mementos, not yours. So first of all, I need my
You
magazines.
don't even know what they are.
I do. I remember we had one on the refrigerator in Roseline
Yeah.
that was still in the plastic.
Right.
It was a Superman one. I remember it vividly. Yeah. So I need the comic books. So I definitely remember all of the the lessons that you instilled in me, and the times that we had. Every time we did hang out, every time you did come pick me up. Every time I did spend a weekend with you, or when I lived with you, there was always lessons learned.
But I didn't.
So I think if I have to pick something that's better, I think now looking back in hindsight, me personally, again with the roles, I think a father is supposed to instill structure into the family, because the father is supposed to lead the household, so he's supposed to create the structure for the household. I think out of everything in my life, I lack structure, and that's something that I'm battling with now. Hence why he saw me at my therapist. I came out of my therapist's office, and he was in the waiting room waiting on our grandma. And I'm like, what you doing here? You at the dentist office? Because it was at the dentist area. And he said, I told him I was in therapy and all that one stuff. But what I've been trying to go through with my therapist is just the reason why I got into therapy and got diagnosed with ADD and all that one stuff is because I lack structure and I lack the ability to create it. Hence, like how you said earlier, like you just got to live life. I was blessed since the age of 19 Yeah, so 21 years ago that I never had to work a regular job.
Right. Well,
Like
you did now. You remember you had the
there
job
was a
at
few I
Wendy's.
worked.
Hey, but one thing you learned, one thing I told you when you had Wendy's, I said, hey, now you get the little
that was
check.
before Wendy's. That was after Wendy's, I should say. Yeah.
I know. I said, but you worked at Wendy's. I said, hey, now don't get that little check and be buying all the stuff you want, and don't buy the stuff you need.
And I was
Right.
for sure. Since then, I'm not structure for me is meaning like, you know, a lot of people have to wake up at this time,
Right.
do this, do this, do this, then get the kids, then put them to bed.
Yeah.
Like I've never really. Well, I had Cam up until the age of 9 years old, where I had him Monday through Wednesday and every other weekend. But I worked at this jewelry store, so back to work. It was work. I worked at the jewelry store, so got to go in when I wanted to, got off when I wanted to. I ran a store. It was my own. So then when I left the store, I had maybe I think 2 jobs. I tried to be a nurse for a minute. I tried to do security for a minute.
But having to deal with that responsibility is just a little different. That's one when I got married, that, you know, and being actually in the house with kids, man, it actually was a blessing. It felt great. It was
For
something
sure.
I missed out when I was younger. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because when I left my mom, you know, it was just a whole different, you know, the whole different scenario. I spun for a while, you know, but to finally be back in a home with kids, so you come home and they daddy and they running and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that whole thing was just such a joy, such a fulfilling thing. Even though it ended the way it ended, it was still during that time. And I think that's the part that I couldn't. I wish I really could have expressed it no more, you know. But, you know, different personalities and different reasons and all that stuff made that you know, soured that out. But yeah, but that time of being in the household with the kids, man, you know, I hadn't been with y'all was real little, man, and it, you know, just it was a joy to be there and experience that again.
I love, like I said, getting Cameron Monday through since he was 9 months old, getting him Monday through Wednesday and every other weekend, like picking him up from school after work. Like I love that. And that was taken away from me from this terrible system. And then I had to go back to floating again. That's why I call it. That's why with my therapist, I call it floating. I float through life. I've made proper investments and I have businesses that allow me to just be in bed till 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon if I choose to. But I don't want that because I want to be more productive
Well,
and
you
all
know,
that
that's
stuff.
one of
So
the
that's,
things-
if anything, I had to put a finger on, like just
But you know, it's
be
one of the
there
things
to
I
create
was
that
constantly
structure.
instilled. You know, it's one thing I was always constantly on you about, like, hey, boy, you need a 40. You need
Yeah.
a 40.
Yeah,
you
you've
got
always did.
responsibilities. You need a 40.
I never wanted it,
You need a
'cause
40.
The fast money from the jewelry store was
Yeah, but you know, I always say that. But
That money from the jewelry store
quicker
hit
it
different.
you get it goes just as quick. So
And it
like,
did
you need
go
a
just as
40
quick.
because it's guaranteed. You need guaranteed money, and then everything else, your creativity and all that stuff, that's icing on the cake. But you
Yeah.
gotta have a cake.
But it's hard to, and I've always told you, it's hard to do the creative stuff if you have just 40, because that 40 sometimes turns into 50.
But see,
And 60 and 80.
But you didn't think about it this way. That 40 gave you such guaranteed money, it made this less of a struggle. And actually, you end up having more money to invest in what you're doing instead of running around trying to get the little dollars to do what you're trying to do. That 40 gave you guaranteed
You think
money.
It gave you guaranteed
that
money.
40 give you guaranteed money to help with the icing.
But you wouldn't
You know
do
what
the
I mean?
icing because you'd be too tired.
No. You're not too. You got off days. You got time where you don't have to work. You know, you use that time to really.
Yeah, I
and
don't
actually,
know.
you will appreciate. Hey, you know what? That's going to a different direction.
I ain't had a 40, so yeah, in
We're
my
not-
mind,
we're not-
it just seems like I would be tired and not want to do what I needed to do after work.
Because you didn't. If you'd have did it, you'd have saw exactly what I was talking about. You'd have had so much extra money besides the other stuff that
It would have had to been a
get.
40 I loved. It would have had to been something I
But-
love so
but
much.
Everybody should only take a job that they really like, because if you don't take a job that you like, you're not only you're not going to do it well, everybody's going to know you don't like the job, and you
Yeah.
probably won't be there long.
Yeah, that's what it been.
You
That would
go
have
to
been
do
me.
the work on resentment, that don't last long.
That would have been me. That would have been me for sure, because I don't know, just something about saying, hey, I need this weekend off, and they say no. That would have been right there, like, oh, it actually wasn't a question. I was letting you know that I wasn't going to be here this weekend.
You know, and I think this is a good question because this is one I'll express to Jacob. You know, the younger,
My younger brother.
the younger brother.
Shout out to my little brother.
23.
Gang, gang.
But the thing is, and I think everyone can ask this of their mother and father. What benefits can you use from a father now? You're adult. You've had all these different situations and love and life and kids, and what would be beneficial from a father now?
Let me see. I mean, if you just want to just send me some money, I can always use money. So nah,
Get a 40. You have money.
I want more money. Outside of that, I think honestly, they say that when a kid is younger in their teens, that's when they need a father figure and someone to guide them and all that one stuff. I think that even at this big age of 40, goodness, I am 40.
Yeah, I'm 63 and you're 40.
I feel like I'm like 32. I'm not gonna hold y'all. My body look, I'm 32, all that, but I'm 40. But even being 40, I think that there's never an age too old to still be molded, still be given wisdom, still been given how-tos, like I said, hence had I reached out to you when I was going through my little breakup depression thing. Granted, again, that's still a godsend. I still don't think you would have been able to pull me out of, which is crazy because my friends couldn't pull me out of. It took a message in a unlikely source. My whole saving was biblical, but that's a story for another time. But things like that, like situations, when I go through situations like that, now navigating a relationship, being more healthy, more secure. I think having a father, like I said, you're always there, so it's kind of hard. Like if I can call you whenever I want to, so it's like it's not nothing I would say per se that I'm lacking now, or if I create, let's say that if I create now, would I feel change anything per se? Because like I said, I'm on a healing journey that's so deep. Like I said, healing journey is forever. I'm so deep in it that I ain't gonna say I have all the answers because I'm still learning things. Like there's a bunch of gems I just picked up on this one that I'm about to apply. But maybe we had those conversations, these deeper conversations with these deeper questions. Hence the book plug, shameless plug. Get the book that has 600 questions in it for dating and stuff like that. Because the quality of the question impacts the quality of the answer. So I think that had we had these conversations, maybe I could have curved some of the things that I went through sooner, later, maybe not. It's all God's will and God's plan for us to navigate life how we have been. Because, you told me a bunch of stuff that I didn't listen to.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you can tell us all types of things. So I think anything now as an adult is just more so support, more so just being that ear, being that person to talk to unbiasedly can be being father for real. I think that's...
Well, even, when you would call, just say, hey, Dad, remember you said, or to ask a question, you still like to try to answer your own damn question you called me to ask me about.
That's just always been me. That's the lawyer in me. That's the lawyer in me.
And then you don't, and then when I tell you, you want to sit and think about it for a second. They say, okay, I can see that. But you always want to throw your butt in there.
Yeah.
Like, then I'll let you just go because I know you're going to end up, you heard what I said. So I'm not even going to get into that. You heard what I said. I know you heard me. So that but don't mean nothing. Because as you got older, you start listening to what I said.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, that's why I wanted to have you on, because I knew that I know that how we grow up impacts who we choose and how we connect. Hence the intro to this show. So I want to dig into a little bit more of your story, so that way I can relate it to my story and how I date and how I connect the dots. Because like this is really all about me selfishly. Selfishly, it's all about me. They just to get to be along for the ride, and I hope that this also impacts them in some way, somehow. They get a realization from this. They want to talk to their parents. They want to talk to their partner. They want to talk to XYZ who or whatever, or they want to unpack their own traumas and that. Because I didn't know where I was gonna go with this whole episode. I didn't know how deep it was gonna get or how emotional it was gonna get. But that takes me to the fact that I'm glad that we established our relationship that we did. Maybe it was because I lived with you when I was a kid.
Well, I cared about your mom. I was the jerk.
I mean, granted, but
You know,
because you were a jerk,
you don't get to call me jerk. I was the jerk. You don't get to.
Well, and maybe you were a jerk to her, but that still doesn't. I was saying that to say that doesn't give her the right to tell her kids, F him, that ain't your daddy, F him, that SOB, he ain't nothing. Like, and I grew up hearing that. And this is from, my mama white, y'all, if y'all haven't known that already. So this ain't a black mama thing. Like, my mama was white. Granted, she did grow up in a fair apartment, so maybe that's a variable. I don't know. 6'7". But like, I grew up hearing that dang near my whole life. Like, today, if I would have said, I'm doing an interview with my dad, she probably would have scoffed. She probably would have scoffed, or I would have been like, why ain't on an interview with him? Like, to this day, and I'm 40.
Yeah. She and I are still sour. It's still sour.
But that don't like you said, you say two sides to every story. What I tell people is three sides to every story. It's their side, and the truth. Right. One of theirs might be closer to the truth.
You never heard me sour her name. You
never in my life.
Never heard me.
Never in my life.
Ever. Because I know.
Because you said you admitted you took accountability.
My part. But I never said about her part.
I never heard her story.
See, her part is the reason why she is sorry. She is.
Now that I have my own baby mama situations.
Sometimes people are sour because of their stuff. You know what I mean? But I know the type of person I was. I know the type of person. Now, as far as her caring for me and stuff, oh, man, nobody cared for me like she cared for me. Nobody, period. I just didn't know anything about that. I'm 19. I didn't know anything about that. I was popular. I was the leader of my, I was the leader. Right. I didn't know anything about family and love and all that stuff. And she really, honestly, just liked me for me. Right. She was the first person that really liked me for me. Other people I dated liked me because of my popularity and this and another. She liked me for me. And it was totally, the thing she did for me in my life was something else. But I ain't know nothing about that. I just squashed all that. I ran over that. I just, Yeah. And she hung in there until she couldn't take it no more. And when she got tired of it, she said, I'm tired of it. And then I started spinning out of control because now I ain't had that anchor. You know what I mean?
Right. On that note, we're going to move to the fire round questions. I think we hit on a lot of valuable points that I hope that a lot of people.
This conversation been helpful. I know I've been enjoying it. It's been helpful
too.
I've been enjoying it.
I definitely have, because we've never talked this seriously.
We talk a lot about stuff because we always end up in the same. We always end up going through the same thing in life at the same time. It's the weirdest thing.
Hate it. And with that being said, we're gonna go into the fire round questions. Fun. I like ending these on like higher notes. Are you a morning person or night owl?
Night. Like, think it through or trust your gut.
Ooh. I think I think it through too much now. I think things through. I used to just wing it. Quiet night in or being around a bunch of people?
Ooh. Depends on my mood. That's
a good one.
And who's that person I'm in with? It depends on my mood.
That part. Who I'm in with.
I like this one. A close person or a wide circle for you?
I like wide circle.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't got too many people that's just close that I just lean on. Talking it out, or you're a type of person that needs space for a minute?
All depends. If I come in the door and you say we need to talk, I need space for a minute. I do not like that.
What?
We need to talk. I
hate that
I left something in the car. I'll be back. I don't like that. We need to talk.
I hate that word.
That is not going to go well.
That sentence is the worst.
Build slowly or go all in?
I used to go all in. Come to find out that was my anxious attachment style. So now I like to build slowly and firmly. Peace or passion? Which one matters most to you?
Peace. That's the most
cool.
important thing
Yeah.
to me is peace. Now this is an easy one. Fix it yourself or ask for help.
Fix it myself. For sure.
And then need to ask for help.
And then need to ask for help. For sure. For sure. Or YouTube it. And then ask for help is my last resort. For sure. This was a great episode. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I really picked up some gems from this. I definitely see a lot of patterns in myself that you went through the same age or around the same age. Definitely taking all that into consideration as I continue to navigate life and dating and relationships. The good, the bad, and the ugly is what makes us us.
Well, and this is helpful. I mean, it's helpful for me, to have this communication, but we, like I said, when we do talk, we talk,
Yeah.
but to be able to share so much in this time frame and then share with people, that's cool, because
Yeah.
it could be helpful to someone or somebody could say, man, y'all tripping, what I mean? But the thing is, it's just that the realism of it all,
Yeah.
and people don't know our journey. They get to peep a little bit,
That part.
but people don't know our journey. Our journey was interesting, and for us to
Very
be
interesting.
able to navigate through it, and anything about that we can share that will help someone is cool.
Yeah. And that's what I'm all about. And like I said, this is what this
And that's
whole
what
show's
anytime
about.
you want me to come on, we talk about some things because I share some stuff. But like I'm 63, and the way I come up. And the things I learned from the type of jobs that I had and the type of people I've met, and and then having a conversation with you and the things that you learned through your life and happened since, then our children, things
Yeah.
like that. All those things are very helpful, and it could be helpful to someone that's looking.
Yeah.
Someone might have questions and things like that. We can answer or share with them.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, y'all like, subscribe, drop in the comments. When's the last time you talked to your parents? When's the last time you really sat down and had a conversation with them deep enough to try to get some of your underlying issues solved, or at least get some of the answers to your question? Get some of your questions answered. It's the wine now, y'all. Y'all know we done went through a whole bottle. They know me. I'm like a lush. Get some of the questions
I never liked
answered.
drinking.
Yeah, I was a bartender. But I appreciate you, everything that you do, and outside of this
man.
show and being on this show, I do want to let you know that, being one of your probably closest kids, that
Yeah, true,
I
true.
definitely, I don't regret anything that we've went through. None of the things, the good and the bad
Right.
and the ugly. Like I said, they definitely made me the great, phenomenal man that I am today. I'm gonna pump my ego every time I get a chance to, because without it, I could have ended up like some of my friends and people who I seen who are just so distraught
Well, and
when it
it's
comes to
been
certain
helpful
situations.
having to be there. It's been helpful because you could have been the type of kid that went all off into, and so I'm constantly,
Yeah.
so I mean that could have been a whole new thing too. So it's I've had a less stressful life,
Yeah.
because and I'm I guess I can say fortunate, but
Yeah, we
I
say
think
fortunate.
because of the things that y'all paid attention to, you didn't get easily pulled into these other little circles and corners, and you think of things in high intents, you know. And if I'd have known what I learned,
You know what? I like high intense. Actually,
Yeah.
I might add that to my
yeah.
little
But
repertoire.
if I'd have known then what I learned, it was all that would have been different too. Very
And
important.
on that note, we will end it there. Thank you so much for being on the show. I love you.
I love you, man.
I appreciate you and everything that you've done. Tune in to the next one. That was
was a great show.